Hello friends, I'm Wendy Adamson and I'd like to share a 1245 devotional with you today. The scripture today is again from Paul's second letter to the church at Corinth. I'd like to give you just a little background. Paul speaks of boasting in nearly every chapter of 2 Corinthians. So in his day, as well as ours, boasting might be a dangerous move. It might put people off. People might be offended by the boastful nature of his tone. But Paul is in a difficult position. He needs to argue for his own authority and competence as an apostle of Jesus Christ, while holding fast to his conviction that the one who boasts should boast in the Lord. So Paul resolves this tension three different ways in 2 Corinthians. Sometimes he boasts in the Corinthians themselves, other times in the church that he founded rather than himself. Sometimes he boasts in his own weakness, thereby bearing witness to Christ's power within him to accomplish all the things that he has accomplished. Sometimes he gives in and boasts about his own experiences, but when he does, he admits that he is speaking as a fool. And that brings us to today's scripture from 2 Corinthians chapter 11, and I'm going to start reading from verse 16. Let me come back to where I started, and don't hold it against me if I continue to sound a little foolish. Or if you'd rather, just accept that I'm a fool and let me rant on a bit. I didn't learn this kind of talk from Christ. Oh no, it's a bad habit I picked up from the three-ring preachers that are so popular these days. Since you sit there in the judgment seat observing all these shenanigans, you can afford to humor an occasional fool who happens along. You have such an admirable tolerance for impostors who rob your freedom, rip you off, steal you blind, put you down, even slap your face. I shouldn't admit it to you, but our stomachs aren't strong enough to tolerate that kind of stuff. Since you admire the egomaniacs of the pulpit so much, remember, this is your old friend the fool talking. Let me try a hand at it. Do they brag about being Hebrews, Israelites, the pure race of Abraham? I'm their match. Are they servants of Christ? I can go them one better. I can't believe I'm saying these things. It's crazy to talk this way. But I started and I'm going to finish. I've worked much harder, been jailed more often, beaten up more times than I can count, and at death's door time after time. I've been flogged 5 times with the Jews' 39 lashes, beaten by Roman rods 3 times, pommeled with rocks once. I've been shipwrecked 3 times and immersed in the open sea for a night and a day. In hard traveling year in and year out, I've had to ford rivers, fend off robbers, struggle with friends, struggle with foes. I've been at risk in the city, at risk in the country, endangered by desert sun and sea storm, and betrayed by those I thought were my brothers. I've known drudgery and hard labor, many a long and lonely night without sleep, many a missed meal, blasted by the cold, naked to the weather. And that's not the half of it. When you throw in the daily pressures and anxieties of all the churches, when someone gets to the end of his rope, I feel the desperation in my bones. When someone is duped into sin, an angry fire burns in my gut. If I have to brag about myself, I'll brag about the humiliations that make me more like Jesus. So there's a lot in here. Paul's life was complicated and difficult. He spent 10 years traveling and preaching in Cyprus, Galatia, Asia Minor, Greece, Yugoslavia, Ephesus, and Corinth. His life as an apostle of Christ was difficult and dangerous. Did you catch that? He was flogged 5 times, whipped, beaten by Roman rods. He was stoned, shipwrecked 3 times, tortured, yet he persevered, even continuing to write letters of encouragement, continuing his mission and praising Christ from his jail cell. I don't know about you, but when I listen to this, I think, oh boy, I fall short. I don't know how I would react in such circumstances. I just can't comprehend it. It's beyond me. Paul lived a very dark life, and yet he continued to praise. And now here we are in our own version of darkness. Again, the themes of the day: COVID, racism, George Floyd. We're in difficult times, and often I don't know what to do with it. So, being me, I go to books, and I'd like to share some words from a favorite author of mine, Anne Lamott, and her book, Help, Thanks, Wow, The 3 Essential Prayers. It's a quick, easy read, and I'd highly recommend it. So, here's Anne's words. Human lives are hard, even those of health and privilege, and don't make much sense. This is the message of the book of Job. Any snappy explanation of suffering you come up with will be horseshit. God tells Job, who wants an explanation for all his troubles, you wouldn't understand. And we don't understand a lot of things. But we learn that people are very disappointing, and that they break our hearts, and that very sweet people will be bullied, and that we will be called to survive unsurvivable losses, and that we will realize with enormous pain how much of our lives we've already wasted with obsessive work or pleasing people or dieting. We will see and read about deprivation and barbarity beyond our ability to understand, much less process. Side by side with all that, we will witness transformation, people finding out who they were born to be. But where do we even start on the daily walk of restoration and awakening? We start where we are. We find God in our human lives, and that includes the suffering. I get thirsty people glasses of water, even if that thirsty person is just me. If I were to begin practicing the presence of God for the first time today, it would help to begin by admitting the 3 most terrible truths of our existence: that we are so ruined and so loved, and in charge of so little. But you know what? When I've run out of good ideas on how to fix the unfixable, when we finally stop trying to heal our own sick, stressed minds with our sick, stressed minds, when we are truly at the end of our rope and just done, we say the same prayer. We say, help. We say, help, this is really all too much, or I am going slowly crazy, or I can't do this, or I can't stop doing this, or I can't feel anything, or help, he is going to leave me and I have no life, or I hate the one I've created, or I forgot to have a life, or I forgot to pay attention as it scrolled by. So how do you pray help? Well, Anne's got a prayer that I just love. So please join me in prayer. Hi, God. I am just a mess. It is all hopeless. What else is new? I would be sick of me if I were you, but miraculously, you are not. I know I have no control over other people's lives, and I hate this. Yet I believe that if I accept this and surrender, you will meet me wherever I am. Wow, can this be true? If so, how is this afternoon? Say tuish? Thank you in advance for your company and blessing. You have never once let me down. Amen. So, as you continue on with your day, remember, as Anne asks, can this be true? Yes, it is. God will meet you there, and he will not let you down. Blessings on your day, friends.